we've gotten to where it's efficiency for efficiency's sake, not for customer choice, not for appliance manufacturers, and really not to actually develop appliances for the purpose for which they're purchased.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning, and we are pleased to be joined by the Honorable Mark Menezes. He's a former Deputy Secretary of Energy in a regulatory organization. I mean, is that primarily what that department does? I know it's much broader than that, yeah. But maybe for the listeners,
well, that's really a great question, actually, because the department is quite broad. And while it is the Department of Energy, it does a lot more things than just energy. You know, to be sure, we have programs to develop expertise in fossil, in nuclear, in renewable energy, energy efficiency,
sure.
Cybersecurity, emergency response, for example. So we have all of that, which you would expect. But it is to develop technologies and really knowledge. It is not regulatory per se. Okay. That's more the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission you've probably heard about.
Sure.
While that's an agency within the department, it's sort of independent, and it's the economic regulator that you see.
Okay.
And we're not like EPA, so we don't have air emissions or water pollution issues of that. We do regulate appliance standards. So your electric appliance standards, it's the department that sets the standards and enforces the standards. So that's why your energy appliances are so efficient today.
I smile only because, and I heard your keynote speech at the spring show for the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association, and we talked about it. You talked a little bit about Energy Star, and right. I liken it to these new baseball rules. So we're trying to speed up the game. Yet we got a coach coming out and arguing that guy didn't take too long, or this guy, and all of a sudden we end up back to where we were to begin with, if not worse. It's kind of like the Energy Star, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, the Energy Star program is all about efficiency. It's really not about performance. And so as a consequence, we really go through a lot of processes to make the process more and more efficient, which generally means it takes time. And as I have said, I don't really need to have a relationship with my appliance, right, to get it work. It's supposed to be labor saving. That's
sure.
what appliances are. But unfortunately, Congress, when it set in place the requirements that the department has to constantly reevaluate the efficiency standards for all of these, we've gotten to where it's efficiency for efficiency's sake, not for customer choice, not for appliance manufacturers, and really not to actually develop appliances for the purpose for which they're purchased,
right,
like
right.
washing clothes and drying clothes and washing dishes in a reasonable time period. But the department does other things too. You might not be aware, but we're also it's called the Department of Science. We have an Office of Science, and so there are 17 national laboratories that the department actually runs. And all of them generally, except one, they're government-owned national labs, but they're contractor operated. Okay, so except for the National Energy Technology Laboratory, which is outside of Pittsburgh, which is still the government-owned, government-operated, we call it the GO-GO. But those labs they're the weapons labs, the Los Alamos, the Sandias, the
sure. Lawrence
Livermore, you've heard of those. And then there are basic research laboratories too, like you hear from Oak Ridge or Argonne, Fermi, those labs. And then we have applied science labs, and those are more for energy, like we would think about energy. So it's the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, for example, in Golden, Colorado. It's the National Energy Technology Laboratory outside of Pittsburgh that I had mentioned. That's more fossil-driven, more your traditional sources of energy. And and you have the Idaho National Laboratory, where we have our cybersecurity and we have our electric transmission and our nuclear as well. So that's quite exciting there. And then we have the weapons program, the nuclear weapons program. That's in the Department of Energy, not the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense might deploy them, but it's the civilians that actually control the readiness and the upkeep, making sure that they, in the unfortunate event, if we ever had to use them, that they would work. And then we have to clean up from the Manhattan Project. So all the radiation that occurred when we were developing the bomb, our standards weren't as high back then. We had a national reason that we had to really rush to develop it, of course, world peace. And And so, but we're still cleaning that up, and that's a very long process. And the standards really are so tight that it'll be years before, it's going to be zero detection from a lot of the radiation.